Thanks again, Dr. Aimee Gardner, PhD and surgical educator. Tell me about, I saw a tweet, I think during the American College of Surgeons Congress recently, about an intraoperative teaching course that I thought was intriguing. Tell me about this course.
So we've developed a course here at UT Southwestern. We've actually pulled from a lot of other courses that I've attended and some of my colleagues as well. And we essentially have created this half-day course all focused on teaching in the OR. And we've adopted a lot of these concepts and kind of theoretical foundations based not only on research done in the surgery world, but also that from education, from psychology, from business. And we essentially have broken down, based on some work out of SIU, the intraoperative teaching experience into 3 phases. Good things come in 3. So we talk about briefing. So before you actually go in the OR, with a trainee, let's talk about setting goals. Let's talk about expectations, previous experiences, learning objectives. And then we move into the actual interaction, the intraoperative teaching phase. And we talk about, monitoring progress towards those goals that the instructor and the trainee, jointly created together. We talked about, dual task interference and, kind of optimizing that interaction. And then we talk about the final phase, which is that
dual task interference.
Yeah, so the idea that based on people's level of experience and kind of comfort with working on a procedure, handle various levels of kind of a secondary task. So you're working on lab chole, you may be dissecting something, and depending on how familiar and confident and experienced you are in doing that, you can only handle a certain level of other things going in the OR. So those could be distractions, noise, either physical or some other format. And we talk about how a lot of times in the OR, faculty instructors feel like if they're not talking, they're not teaching. And so we have some really great visuals and examples and kind of hands-on activities to show that, everything can be distracting, even if it's intended for good. So we talk a little bit about that.
So just tell me about the goal setting part. Do I understand right that you actually studied this course and it's, have you done some studies of this course and what you're doing?
Right.
So is there structure to how you set goals?
Yeah, so we talk about the type of goals. So obviously they should be very specific. They should be measurable, kind of outcomes focused. We talk about the ideal number of goals, and that actually brings in a little bit of that dual task interference as well of, probably just 1 to 2 learning goals will be ideal. Too much might actually be a distraction for the learner, and too much. And then we talk about previous experiences, and this is not only the learner's previous experience with, you as a faculty member or in this actual procedure, but it could be the faculty member's experiences as well. Are they doing a new technique or new technology? Do they have a lot of experience? And so just kind of having that conversation before you actually start the case.
I see. Okay. And then the intraoperative portion, or the next step?
Yeah, so the next step is that intraoperative. So focusing on those 1 to 2 learning objectives. We talk about comfort and silence a lot. Again, just kind of reducing any potential distractor and using the word stop. We talk about the word stop a lot, where we use that to just stop everything that's going. And kind of talking about this with common language in the pre-brief of, as an instructor saying to the trainee, there are going to be times when I say the word stop. And I want you to just pause what you're doing at the moment. Just keep your instrument still. And this could be because I have a patient safety concern and you might be going down a different path. It might be because I see this as an educational opportunity and I want you to pause right there and us discuss your strategy, next moves. Or it could be something not unrelated to you completely. Maybe I want to teach the med student over here something and I want you to just pause right there so I can focus on that learning experience a little bit. And then we talk about, open-ended questions and the value of, after you saying stop, then asking the learner, now tell me your strategy there. Tell me what your next steps were going to be. Tell me why you chose, this approach versus another one. Mm-hmm. So, and then, the final phase is just the debriefing. It's actually my favorite phase. But this is, the part of the learning experience where an instructor or faculty member actually encourages the trainee to reflect on what just happened and to identify things that went well, maybe some things that didn't go well, so reinforce the good things, correct the bad things. And then, of course, goal setting is important in all stages. So creating some goals for next time. And again, trying to highlight how those goals should be very specific. So, here's a goal of what next time, we enter the OR together, or next time you work on this case, I would expect that you're able to do this percentage of the case, or that you could get this far, without any help. And for you to get there, I would expect that in the meantime, you're doing these things in the sim lab. You're watching these SAGES videos. You're practicing, with your left hand on this way. So not only goals for next time in the actual OR, but goals to work on to get to that point. So it's kind of multi-layered there.
Wow, interesting. So I'm curious, this sounds like a very intuitive structure for how to put things together, and it also sounds nothing like how I learned,
right?
Or how I teach, or how I observe, normally. I'm curious, how much does this sort of structured teaching go on, as far as you're aware?
Yeah, so I would say, similar to your experience, that when we have faculty attend this course, they say, oh, well, that makes sense, but I've never learned that before. I've never thought about it in this way. It's so simple, but hard to apply is the feedback we get. And, from, some of our post-course evaluations, from some, kind of informal feedback just from our faculty who've gone through it, they say, this is so hard to just apply in the clinical world. It's so hard to focus on this way. Even though it seems simple, even though it's very structured, 3 phases, we should be able to get through this. There are a lot of other constraints, resource, kind of intense conversations, and, time always is a obstacle to, to optimal learning. So we've gotten great feedback, but faculty have told us, this is hard. It's hard to teach in this way. It's hard to be this comprehensive. Sometimes, but each case they add a little bit more, and they kind of adopt this framework to their own teaching style, and that's exactly what we want. We want to share concepts, we want to illustrate some of these things, and then each person kind of make it a little bit specific to their kind of idiosyncrasies in their teaching style.
Where can someone learn more about this work you're doing?
Well, we're trying to clean this up a little bit in December, so we'll have done about 6 months worth, and this is very purposefully a very small course, so just 4 to 5 people, and two maybe 3 instructors each course. So we'll have 20, 30 or so faculty members who have gone through it, and we have some things in place at our institution where we can actually measure changes in intraoperative instruction that actually align with this format. So we have intraoperative teaching evals that talk about specific things that faculty do in the pre-brief, during the instruction, and afterwards that our residents fill out kind of throughout the year. So we'll be able to examine the impact of this a little bit more objectively through those evaluations, and hope to share that with the surgical education community soon.
Great.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on the project?
It's great. It's invigorating. We get a lot of great feedback. I would encourage, we obviously have nothing proprietary about any of this information. So if anyone wanted to adopt this course or talk a little bit about it more in depth, we're happy to share everything that we're doing. And so the goal is to just do good work and share it. So
great. Thanks a lot. Nice to see you again. Appreciate your time.
Good to see you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks for checking out the Op Report. Help us keep conversations alive on topics in general surgery. Check out more episodes of the Op Report and other OnSurge content here at YouTube. Find us at Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and find our homepage at onsurge.com. Join the conversation and tell us what topics you'd like to hear about and what people you'd like to hear from.